Good morning, second graders. Today is Friday, May 15th, and it's another fantastic Friday because we get to do a Scholastic News again today. This one is about volcanoes. So I'm going to look at our matrix for a minute, and it says, read the Scholastic News magazine, The Volcano That Stopped Summer, and complete the activity to go with the magazine. So we're on Friday the 15th. So in your distance learning folder, you should have a Scholastic News that looks like this, and we're going to talk about that in just a second. So before we start reading it, I thought that I would share with you some volcano facts that I just Googled, Volcano Facts for Kids, so that I thought I'd give you just a little bit of background about volcanoes before we actually started the Scholastic News today. So volcanoes, first of all, are openings in the Earth's surface. When they are active, they can let ash, gas, and hot magma escape in sometimes violent and spectacular eruptions. Okay, so that's what a volcano is. And the word volcano actually comes from, originally, the name of a Roman god of fire called Vulcan. And let's see here, what else? Volcanoes are usually located where tectonic plates meet. And that's especially true. There's an area in our world where 75% of volcanoes on Earth are found. And that's near the Pacific Ocean. And it's called the Ring of Fire, the Pacific Ring of Fire. So that's where most of the volcanoes on Earth are found. So is that by us at all? Nope, that's pretty far away, isn't it? Yes, so I don't think we have to worry too much in Minnesota about a volcano. All right, let's see. Hot liquid rock under the Earth's surface is known as magma, and it's called lava after it comes out of a volcano. So you probably already knew that little fact, didn't you? And there's 3 different types of volcanoes. One of them is called dormant, and that means that the volcano has erupted in the past, but it hasn't for a super long time, but there's still a possibility of it. And the other one is called active, and that means it has recently erupted, and there's a possibility that it could erupt soon again. And the last one is called an extinct volcano, and I bet you can figure out what that one means. That means it hasn't erupted for thousands and thousands of years, and there's probably no possibility that it would erupt again. So those are just some little facts about volcanoes. If you want to know more about volcanoes, go ahead and Google Volcano Facts for Kids, because that's what I did, and I found a lot of information about that. And then I'm going to show you this. This is just something that I found on there that's kind of a cool picture about volcanoes and how all of this is the magma underneath there, and all of a sudden it comes up to the top, and once it erupts, it comes down the side as lava. Okay, so that's kind of a cool picture. So today in our Scholastic News, obviously, we're going to talk about nonfiction text features just like we do every time we do a Scholastic News. So here's the title, The Volcano That Stopped Summer. Now that's pretty interesting. You wouldn't think a volcano would stop summer, would you? So that's what you're going to read about. So when you open it up, here's another nonfiction text feature, the heading or the headline, The Year with No Summer. And then you have obviously the subheadings. We've talked about those each time. Those are those blue titles. And you know that when it gives a subheading, a volcano erupts, that this chunk of words and this chunk of words is going to be about that. And then a new subheading, a thick cloud spreads. So that's going to be what that's about, and so on. Okay, remember we have our boldface words, all the words that are in dark print. If you're doing this Scholastic News online, you can do the vocabulary words ahead of time. Okay, that might help for you to understand what some of those are. And then we also have picture captions, the words that describe the picture, so make sure you read that too. And then this one, picture caption for that picture too. Okay, so make sure you do that. And then on the back, look at that. It's a picture of 6 of the 7 continents. Look at these big land masses. We've talked about those too, haven't we? So there's the continents. And then right here are the labels. And those labels are telling you what's going on in this picture of a map. So use those to help you answer questions 1 through 4. Okay, and when you're done reading that, here's the sheet that goes with it. front and back. So do that, okay? And remember, you can have this as something that you do online. And I've showed you how to do that several times. You have to Google Scholastic News 2. And once you Google that, it'll ask you to log in and then click I am a student. And then you're going to need our class password, which I'll send to your parents and remind, just like I do. If you write it down, that's great. Then you don't even need to look at that. And then once you're in, you have to find, this is an April issue, so you're going to have to scroll down a little and find the April issues. And then click on the one that looks like this, okay? Remember, you don't have to do it online. You can read it yourself, or you can have your parent read it with you or to you, okay? However you'd like to get that done. But that is our must-dos for reading today. And then you also need to go on you have to go on Seesaw, and you have to do the activity that has to do with Scholastic News by taking a picture of that. And that's on Seesaw today. So hopefully you're all able to do that as well, okay? So, one of the other things I wanted to tell you this morning is that one of your may-dos under Science and Social Studies today, and that's right here, okay? And it says, if you were an inventor, what is one thing you would invent? How would your invention help people? Complete this activity on Seesaw if you can. Okay, so Mrs. Lunning put a Seesaw activity on there about what would you do if you were an inventor? What would you invent? And how would it help people? Okay, so it doesn't take very long, but that's a cute one that I'd love to see. So go on that and do that as a may-do today if you would like. All right, so next we are going to move on to math. So I hope you grab your math packet and a pencil, and I will get the camera turned around and we will correct our math from yesterday. Today for math, you need pages 601 and 602 in your packet. And so that's lesson 2, and we're going to do the independent practice with that today. So grab your page from yesterday, which was 600, and grab your math for today, which is 601 and 602, and we will get correcting that in just a second. All right, in math, we've been talking about telling time. First, we did time to the hour, and yesterday and today, we're doing time to the half hour, the 30-minute mark. So you should have page 600 with you, and this is the answers that you should have had. So number 1 should have had 9:30, which is the same as 9:30, 1:30, 1:30, and 6:30, which is the same as 6:30. So in your talk math, it says it is 8:30. Explain what 8:30 means. So hopefully when you told a parent or a family member your answer to this, you talked about how the minute hand was halfway around the hour. Okay, so this is 1 o'clock, that's on the hour. And if you're talking about 8:30, that's when the minute hand goes halfway around the clock. Remember, it's kind of split into 30 minutes, and the first 30 and the last 30, okay? And I really wish that my hour hand moved like on my teacher clock. That bugs me, but we'll just kind of make it work. So remember, this is on the hour. When you count by fives, 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, what happens to this hour hand as your minute hand is moving halfway around the clock? Your hour hand starts to move halfway in the middle of the hour, because now it's ready for the second half of the hour. And during the second half, as this blue hand, this minute hand, moves around up to the hour, the new hour, then it finishes moving all the way to the 2. Okay? It's hard to show on this little clock on the video, isn't it? But I think you get the idea. All right, so today we are going to practice doing some more telling time to the half hour. And remember, on your paper, they call it half past. Okay? So if I have, this is 2 o'clock, and if it's 2:30, that means that my minute hand is on the 6, and so that's 2:30. So 2:30 is the same as 2:30, okay, or 30 minutes past 2, okay? All right, so today your assignment is 4 through 12. So on this page, you just have to look at the clock. Notice they have the yellow colored in here because that meant that the minute hand started way up here and it moved all the way down to the 6. Okay, so that yellow is showing you that it traveled all the way through these numbers. So write the time on the digital clock as well as what half past means. Remember, when your hour hand is between 2 hours, you always pick the earlier number, and that tells you what time it is on your digital clock. Okay, so for this, if it's between the 10 and the 11, you're going to say it's 10. And then the minute hand is on the 6, and you know that that's 30. So that's 10:30, which means half past 10. So you're going to put 10 here. Okay, so go ahead and do the rest of those. At the bottom, you actually need to draw the hands on each clock. Now, this is what we talked about yesterday and a little bit about already today. When you draw your hour hand, and we're talking half past, your hour hand has to show in the middle of 2 hours. So if this is half past 4, you can't just point it to the 4. It's got to be between the 4 and the 5 because it's already partway to the next hour. So then your hour hand moves. Okay, so I'm going to show you this one. When I draw hands on the clock, I always do the minute first. Whoops, I almost did it to the hour. That's not going to work, is it? I always draw the minute hand first. And so if we're half past, we know that that means it's on the 6 because that's 30. And 30 is half of 60, which is what an hour is, 60 minutes. And if it's half past 4, then my hour hand has to be between the 4 and the 5. And then I write 4:30. Okay, so that's how you're going to do 8 and 9 too. Right? And then on the back, Eli woke up at 7:30. He needs to leave for school 1 hour later. Show and write the time he needs to leave for school. Okay, so I'm going to show you this again. Remember we talked about when our clock was on the hour, right, like this, like o'clock. Oops, I better move this, okay? And it goes around 1 time all the way back up to the 12, that was 1 hour, right? Okay, well, if your minute hand is on the 6 and you're showing 3:30, if it starts at the 6 and it goes for an hour, it goes all the way around 1 more time, then it becomes 4:30. Okay, so that should help you on this one. Okay, so go ahead and draw your hands. All right, the brain builders, you need to use these 3 clocks. This one is when school starts, so what time is that? Soccer practice is at this time. Look at the clock. Your alarm goes off at this time. So in numbers 11, 12, and 13, you're going to use those 3 clocks to help you answer these questions. 2 hours after 4:30. So find the one that says at 4:30. What time would that be? First of all, you got to think of that first. What time is 4:30? And then look up at these clocks and see which clock shows 2 hours after that. So think of what that would be and write what happens on the line. So you're either going to write school starts, soccer practice, or your alarm goes off. But first you have to figure out what time 4:30 is. Then you need to figure out which of these clocks shows 2 hours after that. And then write the activity on the line. 1 hour after 2:30. Okay, so none of these say 2:30. You have to figure that time out first in your head. And then look up here and find the clock that's 1 hour after that. And number 13, 1 hour before 9:30. So what time is 9:30? Think of that in your head first, and then look at the clock and see which one of these shows 1 hour before that time. And write the activity that happened on the line. Okay, those are a little tricky. That's why they're brain builders. And the last one, write math. How is reading a digital clock different from reading an analog clock? So hopefully you'll say something about hands on the clock versus numbers on the clock. All right? Good luck. Have a wonderful, wonderful weekend, and I will be back with you again on Monday. Have a great day, second grade. Bye.